What's up, you guys? Rasati out here in Singapore, and I'm back at it, y'all. It's the Night Owl Podcast. Thank you so much for joining in. I'm really actually glad that you join in every so often, and I know it's probably not every day, but when you do, I really, really appreciate the fact that you're sitting here listening to me. As much as I want to document my life, there's so many things that I want to explain to you as well, because sometimes you just need someone else's point of view. Sometimes you need a personal experience or a story behind the concept that I'm trying to teach, so you actually understand where I'm coming from, so you can maybe shift your perspective a little bit. So for those of you who have ever dated someone who kind of helped you alienate yourself from everybody you knew, this one's for you tonight. I unfortunately was in a situation where I was married to a young man, and it was his goal, I think, I'm not sure, but somehow or another, he convinced me that the people that I knew, because we worked together, and all the people that we worked with apparently were not good for me, and they didn't have my best interest at heart, because the girls that were my friends, or so I thought, were apparently hitting on him, and the guys that were my friends, or so I thought, were also hitting on me and being disrespectful to our relationship. And he knew for a fact that I wasn't the kind of girl that was going to go out looking for attention anyway. I was pretty loyal and kind of quiet. I'm a homebody. So he used that in his favor to kind of explain that these people aren't good for me. They have underhanded motives. They're looking for, an easy way in to destroy us from the inside out, to keep us apart, whatever, and that I shouldn't be listening to anything they had to say, because chances are they were lying to me on some level. So of course, me being the loyal idiot that I was, I decided, you know what? This is my man. I trust him. I'm going to listen to what he has to say. And I think he's trying to keep us protected. I think he cares about this relationship enough. It seems that way by the way he's talking. So it's no big deal for me to drop these people. They're not family members, they're friends. To my detriment, my family members were actually a long way away. And I was one of those people that is used to living by myself anyway. So I had limited contact with them. I didn't really get to talk to them very much anyway. So that worked out in his favor. He didn't have to alienate me from my family. It wasn't that I was alienated. There was a lot of distance between us. And that's just the way it was. It wasn't a bad thing, but it definitely did not help our relationship when it came to people realizing that I was changing, and not in a good way. So eventually I stopped talking to everybody but him. It became one of those things where, he felt that, and I kind of agreed with him, if there was a problem, I should go to him first, because he was my man. We were in a relationship, and that would be the right thing to do. And I was expecting the same thing, but here I was thinking this guy had everything under control, so he didn't really need me that much. And I was asking him for help in several areas of my life, but it wasn't anything major. It wasn't like I was asking for money or helping him, having him help me solve like major life problems. It was just little things like, oh, maybe my boss wasn't very nice that day, or maybe I was having trouble with clients or whatever. So it was a regular conversation. I didn't think anything of it. Well, here I had become central to his world, and I was depending on him being the sole source of conversation on a daily basis when it didn't have to do with work. And eventually, when I finally left him, I realized that my entire world had been like, he was like a weed in my life. Almost. He had like kind of overgrown and taken over various aspects of my life, and I suddenly didn't have a say in very much after all. And I was worried about that. What does that mean for me? What does that mean that I have to do? How do I heal from this? I wasn't even sure. Well, I put a lot of space between the two of us in order for me not to get manipulated and pulled back into this relationship, because I knew it wasn't good for me. It wasn't helping me at all. I was having to dumb myself down in order to stay married to this man, and that wasn't helping me. I was so frustrated and so upset, and it felt like every conversation was not even a conversation. It was like notes in passing, or it was arguments, full on blown out arguments, and it wasn't helping me at all. So where I had taken all of the space what my friends would have taken up and given it to him, when I left him, that left a humongous void in my life. And suddenly I felt stupid and scared. I felt frightened that, I would never love again. Like, who would ever take up that space again? Because he took up a lot of space. Because I gave it to him. I gave him all that real estate. But looking back, I was really, really afraid. I was afraid of starting over. I was afraid of making a mistake again. I didn't want to date anybody ever again. I did not want to go through that process of telling people, where I hurt and where I'm scared and what I dream of and the things that have hurt me before. Like, I didn't want to go through that again. I don't want to open myself up in order for someone to use those things against me. So I moved halfway around the world just to get away from this person and find a way to live my life for myself finally, because the person I was looking at when I was married to him, it did not even look like a glimmer of myself. It wasn't even a shadow of myself. And I was totally upset and completely out of character. I felt lost completely lost. You couldn't even recognize me from the pictures. If I showed you right now, I look like 20 years older than I do right now. So when you date a narcissist, a person who realizes that, the only way to control a person is if they depend on you. And in order for them to depend on you, they need to be alienated from anyone who knows them well enough that they could point out things that are changing that are not in their favor. People that could weigh in on the relationship and the types of arguments that maybe you have to let you know that something is disrespectful or not disrespectful. If you have no other basis of conversation except for the person you're in the relationship with, chances are you're going to depend on their opinion and take it for granted. You're going to take it at face value. Now, fixing that void afterward takes a lot of work. Why? Because you've made it a habit not to listen to anybody else, which means you've pushed people away on purpose, which means you've probably burned a couple bridges just to prove to the man that you're with, or the woman that you're with, that they are the one and they're so important and this relationship matters to me. I would do anything. All of that crap, right? When I came back to Singapore and tried to put my life back together, luckily for me, the people that I pushed away were not in Singapore. Okay. And the people that I pushed away were not in a position to tell me, no, you didn't listen to me the first time. Why would I be your friend anymore? It wasn't like that. But it was people that I wasn't very familiar with. I had to start over again. So for a while, I felt sorry for myself. I sat in a room and I licked my wounds and I watched repeat episodes of Scandal trying to figure out my life. And eventually I realized, you know what? I'm tired of being sad. I need to get up and start building again. I need to do something about my life because I'm wasting away in this dark room. I do come out and eat, but I barely have a conversation. I am not growing at all. And guess what? My daughter's watching all of this. So eventually I had to reset some normals. And I bet a lot of you guys are going through that right now because coronavirus has put you guys in a situation where you can't be with the people that you want to be with. You've been forced to stay in the house. And yes, you can call and video message people and stuff, but it depends on if they have time or if they're in the state of mind to be able to talk to you. So what I'm telling you now is when COVID lifts a little bit and when you get to a reasonable sense of normal again, I need you to get ready to reset some of your habits. For those of you who have dealt with a narcissist before, I think you will understand what I'm about to tell you. I decided to depend on one person to help me get through my life, and it was my brother at the time. And as much as I love my brother, and I know he did the best he could, and it was very, very helpful to me, I know that a lot of you don't have that one person that you can depend on that is okay with you leaning on them the whole time, that they are your sole source of comfort in times of great crisis and trying to heal through traumas. What I would recommend, though, is if you can find 3 to 5 people to reach out to on a daily basis, just to reconnect with them and get back into a friendship of sorts, rebuild. And a lot of times it's not even to say, hey, I need you, help me with this. It's more like, hey, good morning, how are you? Check in on them as a means of just reestablish the connection. Because eventually what will happen is you will find that all of that space that you had given to your narcissist is going to be empty. And you need something to fill the space so you don't go running back to the narcissist. It's a comfort zone, right? When you leave something that you've known for a very long time, it's the reason people say a known devil is better than an unknown devil. If you go back to that one person that took up all that space, you're not going to be able to break out of the cycle. And in order to break out of the cycle, you're going to need the help of a couple friends. It's going to be easier if you have 3 to 5 people that you can lean on, so it's not just any one person that is expected to be able to pick up your call and help you. So if you call one person, they don't answer, you can call another person instead, right? But the point being that you're going to have to reestablish a pattern for yourself. Whenever you feel lonely, whenever you notice that, it's more difficult to get through the day or not think about that person, or it's more difficult because those thoughts start crowding in on you, you need to notice what times of day that is. You need to be aware of what friends might be available at that time. And if you don't have any friends that are available at that time, you need to know what else you could do to maybe reach for a better feeling thought, a more comfortable thought, something else that makes you feel empowered or makes you feel like you really are worth the love that you're seeking, the love that you're able to give. You're worth receiving that same amount of love, that same quality of love. So when I ask you to reach out, it's because I want you to reset your feelings of trust. The person that was your narcissist convinced you that the rest of the world was untrustworthy and that they were the only ones in the entire universe that had your best interest at heart. And yeah, at some point you believed it. And now you're realizing, nope, I don't believe it. You hurt me, you took advantage, and this is not the kind of relationship I want. And you found a way, courageously, to step out of that relationship entirely. But in times of weakness, in times where you're feeling sad and lonely and frightened, it's normal to reach back to something you know. But it's not helpful. It's actually destructive to you. It keeps you in that same pattern. So what I need you to learn is, how do you reset a new normal pattern? Something that's a little more constructive, something that's a little more encouraging and uplifting and hopeful, because you deserve that. If you're going to heal from this relationship and walk away from it, cut ties completely and walk away from it, you're going to need a couple of parachutes, a couple of crutches, a couple of people that you know are going to be able to be around for you. So throughout the day, whenever you feel out of place or out of sorts, throughout the day where it might have been a time where you usually call this person, try and reach out to somebody else instead, because you need to establish that normal. If you aren't able to, you're going to end up feeling frightened. And the whole point of even doing this is because I need you to remind yourself that you are not alone. It's completely retraining your brain, because you pushed everybody away so that he could be your everything or she could be your everything. And it's something that they trained you to do. So in order to untrain yourself, in order to reset your brain and teach yourself about what really is something you can depend on, what is the real reality, what is normal or should be normal for you, you have to retrain your brain. And this is why I'm saying 3 to 5 people is a decent amount of people, a decent number of people where no one person would ever really feel overwhelmed, but you could actually have a backup plan. A lot of times, the narcissist depends on the fact that you trust them completely. And when you're coming out of that situation, it's hard. It's hard to open up again and let other people in. But if you have 3 to 5 people, no one actually has to come really, really close, but they can prove to you that they're around, that they can have a conversation. They maybe could go out for a drink or meet you for coffee, or maybe just, send you memes throughout the day, something to make you laugh and forget the fact that you were just now feeling sad. And that's all I need you to do. Is the simplest piece of advice I could ever give anyone who's coming out of a relationship with a narcissist, or coming out of a situation where you were alienated from everyone. That's what I meant. From everyone. Why? Because not everyone is the same. It's not a blanket statement. Not everyone treats you the same. Not everyone is out to get you or out to manipulate you. And in order for you to retrain your mind to believe that that's possible, that this is just a once in a thousand, person kind of statistic, you need to prove it to yourself by going through an experience where you open yourself up to trust and allow 3 to 5 people to just be there for you on a surface level. It's not like they need to hold your hand through surgery or anything. It's more like, if I message you with a quote, if I message you with a meme, if I message you with a joke, would you respond? Would you send me one back? Would you be able to send me a song of the day or something that might uplift my spirits? And sometimes that's going to take a conversation like, hey, I'm coming out of a breakup. I would really, really love to keep a couple of people around that I can, that I can reach out to when I'm not feeling so great. Would you be okay with? Would you feel okay with me reaching out to you throughout the day? Would that be all right? Because maybe the people that were your friends once before were single at the time when you got into a relationship, and now they're not single, they're with somebody. So maybe you need to consider their relationship. But the point is, it starts with a conversation. And yes, whenever you ask a question, there's a yes answer and there's a no answer. You need to be prepared for both. But the point is, if you have 3 to 5 people, chances are at least one's going to say yes. Probably 3. But you won't know until you ask. So do this for you. Retrain your brain. Teach yourself that you can trust people more than you can trust this person, because they've shown you over and over again that they're not worth trusting. But in order for you to move on, you're going to need to fill the spaces where you used to actually reach out to them with other people. You need people. You need your friends. You're going to get through this, but you're going to need a little help from your friends. All right, you guys, I hope this helped. If you have any questions, please drop them in the comments below. But in the meantime, stay safe and know that you can heal anything that you've been through. You just got to know where to look, and you need to know who you can trust. And that takes a little bit of vulnerability, no matter what you think. All right? I love you guys. I'll catch you soon. Bye.